where you left off on any compatible device. You can adjust narration pace, bookmark your favorite passages, relax with a good story before heading to bed, and switch to car mode when you hit the road. You'll even get a free audiobook when you start your 30-day trial. With Audible, you can fit more books into your busy life.
Hi everyone, good to see you again. Today we have a fantastic video in store. It's all about Russia. You guys cannot seem to get enough of Russia. It's one of the only countries where we keep getting requests for more after a part 2. I went back and found loads of more good stories. Let's have more of them and less of me, shall we? My name is Danny Burke and this is the top 10 scary Russian urban legends part 3. Starting off number 10 now, we have Dwarf Nose. Some of you may have heard me talk about candle love. In a series of posts on internet forum, a person started a new thread by asking about a TV show called Candle Love. Some people remembered it and were shocked that they ever forgot it. It was a twisted show that was disguised as a children's TV show. It started as a normal looking pirate puppet show, but eventually morphed into something much creepier. If you haven't heard of it, check it out. If you have, well, it turns out that Russia may have its very own version, and it's called Dwarf Nose. Over the years, a number of Russians have stated that the Soviet Union once brought film on at night. No record of the film has ever been found, and skeptics believe the film never actually existed in the first place. There are some people who are hell-bent on finding a film they saw, otherwise they are sure they must have gone mad. Once they find it, their next aim is to find out why the movie aired in the first place and why the government now wants to cover it up. Next up at number 9 now, we have Vladimir Ledenev. In 2007, the body of Vladimir Ledenev was discovered in his home after not being seen for almost 7 years. He was discovered in a sitting position, his arm leaning on the kitchen table, his head was slumped over. There was an empty vodka bottle and a glass sat in front of him. His neighbours reported that the 68-year-old had vanished without a trace over 6 years ago. They thought he'd moved somewhere else or checked himself into a hospital as he had been diagnosed with tuberculosis. They told police that he had started drinking heavily after his mother passed away 10 years prior. They told investigators that although people had tried to get in contact with him when he first disappeared, eventually all inquiries stopped and he was pretty much forgotten. The discovery of his body was finally made by workers at a house management office as they made their rounds in the apartments of those who owed unpaid.
Stuck looking for the right car loan? Our competitive rates and reduced fees make an award-winning
bills. Moving on to number 8 now, guys, we have the mystery craters. In July 2014, a mysterious hole appeared in the permafrost of Siberia. It was spotted by helicopter pilots in the remote Yamal region and soon captured the world's attention. Reindeer herders reported a second hole a few days later, and then finally a third one was found. What was going on with these massive holes in the ground? Why were these gaping holes appearing in the earth when just months before there was absolutely nothing? While researchers tried to figure out what exactly was going on, the internet was abound with rumors. Legends began to stir. Some claimed that the holes were actually long forgotten Soviet-era experiments. Said that during the Cold War, the Soviets were experimenting with a terrible power, the power to make the very ground itself swallow people, towns, and cities whole. They said that the experiment was cut short before completion, and those holes were the remnants of the work activated by accident all these years later. Now, scientists have suggested that the holes have actually been created by ice melting and releasing methane, but that doesn't really make for a good urban legend, does it? Next up, number 7 now, we have Elena and Alexei. The story goes that in 1942, Elena was a beautiful woman who was engaged to Alexei, a young man who worked at a chemical plant. Tragically, a chemical fire ripped through the plant one day, killing Alexei just days before their marriage. In her grief, Elena threw herself in front of a train wearing her long white gown, made for her wedding day by her grandmother. Elena was buried in the municipal cemetery. 10 years later, locals began seeing Elena roaming around the cemetery and walking along the tracks where she died. They say that she is looking for Alexei and cannot rest until she finds him. As we know from the story, though, Alexei died at the chemical plant, or perhaps his spirit passed on unimpeded, which is more than we can say for the grief-stricken Elena. Next up at number 6 now, we have Rusalka. In Slavic mythology, the Rusalka is a fishwoman, a sort of dark succubus, if you like. They are women or children who have died violently before their time. If they're women, they've been jilted by their lovers, have been born out of wedlock, or murdered by those most dear to them, or perhaps have even committed suicide. They are said to be most dangerous to men and like to seduce them by singing to them and then wrapping their arms around them to pull them down into the water, drown them. Obviously, they are dangerous, there's no denying that, but many people believe they can do good. They are said to have control over the fertility of living things near them, and some control over the seasons. Some people believe they're a pretty good thing to have around. Moving on to number 5 now, we have Lieutenant Schmidt's Bridge. This bridge is
Survival. Free now.
is a well-known landmark in St. Petersburg and has become the source of many paranormal tales over the years. Locals have reported seeing a thin young lady walk along the bridge and always complain about her misfortunes. On the other side of the river, another young woman has been known to appear out of thin air and weep bitterly. Nobody has ever stuck around long enough to ask her why, though. Legend says, though, that she is the spirit of Princess Tarakanova, who tried to claim the throne from Catherine the Great and was imprisoned in a nearby fortress for her crimes. Next up on the number 4 spot now, we have the Church of the Savior on Blood. This temple is one of the most famous pieces of architecture in Russia. From the outside, it's clearly a thing of beauty. On the inside, though, this beauty makes way for a darker mystery. People from all over the world have obsessed over the hidden secrets within its walls. Some say that it has icons and engravings on the walls and hidden under its roof that seem to have predicted future events in Russia's history. The legend goes that an icon under the roof has a few numbers on them. One of them is 1917. 1917, the year of the Russian Revolution. Another is 1941, the year that Hitler invaded the Soviet Union. It's believed that the icon has power and is able to predict these monumental events in the history of Russia. They say it will do this for future events too. That if a tragedy is approaching Russia one day, the icon will show silhouettes and dates as a warning of what is to come. Coming in number 3 now, we have the Blazing Orb. In 2013, the Chelyabinsk meteor was a 66-foot asteroid that broke up in Earth's atmosphere over Russia. It created a light brighter than the sun and a shockwave that smashed windows for miles around. The town of Chelyabinsk was right under the path of the asteroid and experienced some strange phenomena soon after the event. People reported seeing a glowing fog come down from the sky above, followed by a giant blazing orb. Meteorologists suggested that this may have just been the result of street lights reflecting off ice crystals, but others weren't so convinced. They believed it was too much of a coincidence for this to happen at the same time as this close call with the meteor. Aliens? Aliens. It's gotta be aliens, right? Now we have a change of weather. This is the story of Sofia Borovskaya. She was a member of a radical group within the Socialist Party at the start of the 20th century. She carried out assassination attempts on the royal family and government officials, and because of this, she was sentenced to death by hanging for her crimes against the state. In the years since, a bit of a legend has built up over the years that's linked to the story of Sofia. Locals say that when the weather turns bad in March, Sofia will appear on the bridge over the Ekaterinitsky Channel. Her face will look blue from the suffocation of her execution. There will also be a purple trace on her neck from road burns. Some even say she carries a white handkerchief in her hand, signaling to her comrades to start the revolution. And finally, number one now, we have the Brosno monster. Essentially, this story is like the Russian version of the Loch Ness monster. 250 miles northwest of Moscow, near Andriopol in West Russia, lies the small body of water known as Lake Brosno. Since 1854, locals have sworn it is home to a large, glowing reptilian creature. It's been described as 16 feet long, an iridescent dragon-like creature with a fish-like or serpentine head. It's said to have spread terror throughout the small fishing communities along that lake. This sort of bioluminescent creature is rare, even among urban legends. The scientists who have theorized about its possible existence have often insisted that the creature cannot be a reptile due to the frigid conditions up there. Either way, some locals now live in total fear. One old woman was quoted as saying, "I'm afraid I do not feel comfortable staying in this place. The monster could crawl into my house any day." Honestly, I've got huge respect
Next
for her
one up.
if she ends up staying there. Imagine having to worry every single day if a monster is going to crawl out of a nearby lake and right into your home. No thanks. And with that, our latest tour of Russian myths and legends has come to an end. Where to next though? You decide. I did notice recently that there's loads of African countries we haven't done yet. You could ask for one of those. Just saying. It's up to you though. Thanks for watching as always, guys. My name is Danny Burke and I will see you all in the next video.
I'm gonna go to a 5 because this one's really good against fire. My sword.
What makes Ebola so dangerous?
Back, I need a bloody go to the toilet. Okay, I'm back on. I don't feel good. Hello.